Christine, remember when you were a kid and you thought that your career was going to be this like perfect straight line trajectory?
Oh my, yes. That is not at all what happened. It ended up being way more of a squiggle than I could have ever imagined. And I am so happy that I embraced all of the squiggles along the way.
Welcome back, everyone, to Embrace the Squiggle, the podcast for anyone whose career or life looks nothing like a straight line. And honestly, this is where all the good stuff happens. We are Colleen.
And Christine.
And this is episode 95 with Kelly Paxton. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, Lily's mom.
Oh, see, you gave it all away, Christine. I had a whole how we know this person, and you just ruined it.
How do we know each other?
Well,
I was going to say.
We're going to skip it now.
Let's have some fun with this.
Is this your first mother-daughter?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I was going to say, we've had somebody else who nominated their mom, but we haven't gotten her on yet.
Mm-mm.
But yeah.
Okay.
So.
You are the first mother-daughter duo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if people didn't catch that, Lily, who is our producer, who you hear Christine and I rave about all the time, who was also on our podcast. I'm going to see if I can quickly figure out where was she. She was episode 85, so 10 episodes ago. And today we have her mom. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll get some dirt on Lily as well as hear about Kelly's great story.
I love it.
The problem, though, is that Lily can edit it out if she chooses. So
I know.
That is true.
Maybe I should edit this episode.
No.
I've been working on my fuss factor.
No.
I could try.
Let's be really clear about things that Christine should not do. And
Edit episodes,
which is why we hired your daughter, because we love her so much. Okay. So let us jump in today. So Kelly, I want to start with, what did you think you were going to be when you were a little kid? What did little Kelly think she was going to be?
You know, I kind of struggled with this question because it's so off the track. I used to love to draw houses. And there was a brief moment I was like, maybe I could be an architect. Well, I did terrible in geometry and trigonometry. And I'm not, but I love houses. Like my parents built 2 houses. Lily will agree. I've dragged her to so many open houses. I thought, and my kids said I should probably be a realtor. But I thought I'd be a realtor, and then, never happened.
You sound like my sister. She's got an obsession with homes as well.
Yeah.
She doesn't do anything like fully remotely in that camp, but she's absolutely obsessed with homes.
Since I was married, I've lived in 7 different homes.
Oh, wow.
And like bought and sold 7 different homes. And I love them. And I'm in my total dream home right now. It was an unfortunate way I got here, but Lily would tell you it is the perfect house for me. So.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am glad. Okay. So little Kelly thought she was going to be that. Then you get through schooling. And what did you think you were going to do when you were like high school age, right? Kind of coming out of high school age.
You know, my dad was a commodities trader, and I was always good with math besides trigonometry and geometry. And so I ended up going to college. I majored in international studies, but my dad told me you have to take 1 accounting course. And I did okay. Like, it was a class that would fail out a lot of people, but I did fine. And, but then I graduated and I went and worked at the Chicago Board of Trade because that's where my dad cleared his trades through. And I did that for about 2 years. And then I came home because I missed Oregon. And I worked for my dad, and then his business went south, let's just say. And I became a stockbroker and then a bond trader. And this is like a crazy long story, but we had when I was working at this kind of boutique stock brokerage firm, we had a client named Alan Taylor, and I can say this because it's public record, who got arrested by U.S. Customs for wire fraud. And I answered the phone when she's like, "Do you have Alan Taylor there as a client?" And this was before Know Your Customer. So I giggled. I was like, 28 probably. And I was like, oh, is that what we're calling him today? Because sometimes he goes by Winston and sometimes, and he was always lots of fun. So, fast forward like a year, I'm working at a bond trading fund, and my husband, who was boyfriend at the time, he's like, you should call her up. You knew he was dirty. And, we thought he was growing pot. We did not know he was committing white collar crime. And so I called her up, and next thing you know, well, not next thing you know, it takes a long time to get hired by the federal government and go through a background investigation. I'm at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia shooting guns. I had never touched a gun in my life. My family was very anti-gun. Driving fast cars, doing surveillance. I did 4 months of training, and then I came back to Seattle and I became a special agent, which
Wow.
never in my life. I didn't grow up. I like Charlie's Angels. That is like the only, I liked Columbo, the Rockford Files, but I never wanted to be. I mean, my dad kind of was like, government? Oh, you're not going to work for government. I loved working for government. Loved it. I became a special agent. And so for 5.5 years, I worked in Seattle for U.S. Customs Office of Investigations. And I'm a little hesitant to say that right now because what's going on.
Right.
And it got sucked up by Homeland Security, and then it got sucked up now by ICE. But back then, it was a very, I'm going to say, elite law enforcement agency. We had anything that came in or left the country, we could investigate.
Yep. Wow.
And so I arrested bad guys like drug dealers, money launderers, pedophiles. I carried a gun 24/7. I got to drive fast cars, never get speeding tickets. But then my husband graduated with his PhD, and he got a job in the middle of the country with no border. And so I couldn't transfer with customs, and I didn't want to go to a different law enforcement agency. And I was pregnant with Lily. I had already had a son. And so I took.
I didn't know Lily as a brother. I don't think she's ever
talk about him.
I don't think so. I don't think I knew. I had it down that Lily was an only child in my storytelling brain. Yeah, I did.
As did I. So sorry, Lily's brother, for being completely ignored in this conversation. But
I know.
Well, it's funny because they're kind of very different. But I mean, you guys know my husband, their dad passed away.
Yeah.
Since that has happened, they have become closer. For different reasons. But like Lily has done certain things and Noah's copied her. And then Noah has done certain things and Lily, like the rugby. Noah played rugby for Syracuse. And Lily's now doing rugby. She got a job at Ben Park and Recs for summer work. And then Noah got a job. So it's kind of funny.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're in Wisconsin. I start doing background investigations for the government. We moved back to Oregon. I become a certified fraud examiner. Mm-hmm. And I go to work for the local sheriff's office. And I am their fraud analyst. And I'm putting together embezzlement cases. And what I realize is most all of the suspects, except for one, were women. And I Googled.
Tell us more.
I know. I Googled women embezzlers, and the term pink collar crime came up. Now, pink collar crime, the definition is low to medium level employees, primarily women, who steal from the workplace. It's garden variety embezzlement. So it's all about position, not gender, but women are 90% of bookkeepers in this country are women. And I'm also known as the fraud hashtag queen. And one of my hashtags is never underestimate a woman. Women are smart. And I finally have a colleague who has been able to statistically prove women steal more often, men steal more money. And that is what I have said for years. And he shouted me out in his dissertation and everything. So it's at your peril that you, think women are smart.
So what do you feel, or what do you know, maybe through research and your network or whatever, but what do you feel drives that in women?
So women are having to be primary breadwinners a lot more than they used to be. So we have this thing in criminology, the fraud triangle, which is opportunity, pressure, and rationalization.
Hmm.
For a long time, women didn't have the opportunity to embezzle. They weren't in the workforce. In the 70s, they got into the workforce. And Lily will tell you this. The only reason I became a special agent, I pick up the phone. If I'm curious, I pick up the phone, I send an email, I send a text.
Yeah.
And that's how I became a special agent. And so I just am very, very curious. So I picked up the phone, or I sent a LinkedIn message to Dr. Frida Adler. And she was she wrote a book, Sisters in Crime, The Rise of the New Female Criminal in 1975. She had over 300 media appearances. Her first media appearance was an interview by Barbara Walters.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
And you know
Cool.
what? She said she'll never get those 3 years back of her life. People were trying to knock her down and say, you're taking away from women's gains in the workforce. And she's like, no, I'm not. She's
How?
like, women first are humans. Second, they're women. Third, if given the opportunity, think fraud triangle,
Okay.
they may steal from the workplace. And they do.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is anecdotal. Criminal justice statistics are really rough because they say only 15% of embezzlement cases get turned into law enforcement. People are embarrassed. My big push these days is no victim shaming. Like no victim shaming, because when someone is ripped off by Gladys or Bonnie in the basement, they're embarrassed. And then their friends are like, gee, I guess Bonnie's pretty smart, smarter than you, huh, master of the universe? And they don't want to deal with it. So
And are they usually men?
a lot of times. I don't
A lot
know
of
the
times?
statistics,
Okay.
but because again, a lot of people don't, like David Weber, who statistically proved my point. He wasn't even going to throw gender in his analysis, and his advisor said, throw gender in. And then he's like, holy cow. According to 10 years of federal embezzlement cases, women stole 10% on average more often than men. But
less money, you said, right? So
yeah,
because I think like you think of the big embezzlement cases that we see, or I feel like so often they happen to be nonprofits too, right? You see these big cases, and all the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, I teach board governance. So I teach the nonprofit side of this. They're all men, right? They've all been men who've embezzled that large sums of money from nonprofits.
And well, that's because historically, women, not very many women have been at the table.
Yes, but these are also the recent cases too. When I think of some of the big ones that have happened here in the U.S., right? The ones that make headlines, and I think too, like you said, Kelly, they're embarrassed. I could see why so many of these organizations, if it's small enough and they sweep it under the rug so nobody sees it, right? Let's just fire the person, and you hear all the little quips of, in the back room, all the rumors.
Gladys?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to Gladys? She was so good. So that's the other thing is they're generally good employees. They're there all the time. They're there before the boss gets in. They stay after the boss. They come in on weekends. Well, they're hiding it.
So in these sort of, in the statistics, are these people working solo or do they have a sidekick?
Generally, it's solo.
Oh.
Yeah, generally, more often than not, it is solo. I have only done solo embezzlement cases.
Okay.
However, there's been some, those ones that have more than one. There's a professor, I'm blanking. Oh, I am blanking on his name because it's kind of an odd name. And he says if women get pulled into like a sort of conspiracy where a bunch of people are doing it, women actually don't profit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dr. Steffensmeyer said he did a study, and it was like women, he kind of compared it to the mafia. Like, the mafia has, the Tony Soprano, but he's got the girlfriend that helps.
Right.
Right.
And that's what he was saying is that lower level employees. And the thing is I mean, in law enforcement, we joke, we only catch the low hanging fruit. And,
Right.
a statistic is a statistic. So, like, you could arrest someone with a dime bag of heroin, and that's an arrest. You can arrest, Pablo Escobar, one arrest. Who are you going to catch? The guy with the dime bag.
Right.
Because it's just easier and it still counts to your. And unfortunately, law enforcement is a lot about statistic. It's how they get funding.
Right. Right. Okay. So I have a question. So
Yeah.
I heard earlier, a couple of minutes ago, the word curiosity. And I am loving that word right now. And I have found over the last little while, a lot of the women that I've been working with in terms of my own coaching, there's been an element of reconnecting to their curiosity. Like they've just become disconnected, curiosity, disconnected from intuition. And so I'm curious, no pun intended, how do you remain connected to your curiosity? Like would you say that it's training or skill based? Or have you, like, I know for me, I probably can go back and say I became disconnected. Well, I know 110% I became disconnected from my intuition. Life experience, like I just stopped listening to it. I stopped trusting it. And that's been part of my journey, is reconnecting back to my intuition, which is just like so spot on. But I'm curious to know how you stay connected as you journey through life. You just mentioned the passing of your husband, which we can perhaps, if you like, share the story as we continue in this conversation. But how do you stay connected to that piece?
So it's funny, when you get a job with the federal government, you have to go through a very intensive background investigation. And you usually your family isn't interviewed. But I worked for my dad. And so they had to interview my dad. And I had moved from Portland to Seattle, and I was working temp jobs, starving, not being able to get a latte. And my dad calls me up and he goes, ha ha ha, funny thing. And this is when my dad is one of his lowest points. He's lost his business. My parents have completely never getting back together again. And he goes, small world that it is. And I'm like, oh dear. And he goes, some guy knocked on my door this morning, and, I answered the door, and it turns out I know him. And he was a retired FBI agent asking about you. And I'm like, oh God, oh dear. I'm giving up a good job at, a pension fund, and I'm not going to get my clearance now because of my dad. And my dad's like, nope, got to tell you, the guy loves me. He goes, even though every Friday afternoon we'd go to the bar, because my dad's business at that time was booming, and he'd go to a bar, and the FBI agents were in an office like kitty corner, and they'd go to the bar, and they'd all play liar's poker. And my dad's like, I won against him every week. And I'm like, oh God, Dad. Oh dear, I'm never going to get it.
Never getting it, right? Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
This is it.
So the guy did ask, he's like, is your daughter curious? And my dad's like, no. And can't Lily bleep this out? She's goddamn Snoopy. Like, I have always, like, if things don't make sense to me, I will find out. And Lily and my son would call it creepy. Some of my friends would call it creepy. It's actually, if I'm interested or curious about someone, that's because I like them. Like, and I want to find out.
I love that.
Makes sense about them.
And so many people take offense to that.
I have to be careful sometimes that they don't understand that maybe, and I can Google, I call it Google. It's technically open source intelligence. I can do it really well. So sometimes if I'm just meeting someone, I can't blurt out like, yeah, so you don't have a mortgage on your house, huh? Like,
yeah. You're the keeper of many secrets. You're like the vault.
Well, oh my God, that's my nickname.
Oh, is it? Oh,
my
really?
nickname is the vault. And my dad used to say, if you have a breakdown, the whole city of Portland's coming down because you know so much. So my nickname is the Vault.
So curiosity, snoopiness, I'm just going to call it your snoopiness, is a superpower.
I like to think that's a good term, superpower. I had never thought of it as a superpower, but I like that.
It's a superpower that you
Yeah.
leveraged into your career. I love
Yeah.
that. I love it.
Yeah.
So, okay. I was just really curious because, I guess maybe you don't become disconnected from your superpowers. You've just embraced it and always leaned into it.
Or sometimes I do think, right, you put them on hold or you pause them because
Oh, I like that.
other
Put them on
things are,
hold.
right? Because other things are happening in your life. And, if you're overwhelmed, right,
I put them
particularly
on
during
hold.
stress, right? Like when
Put them on
in real
hold.
stressful points in your life, often they get put on hold because
I
people go
love
one
that
extreme or the
phrase.
other, right? I feel like people either go 100% deep into them and then like take them to the dark side, right? Or they just ignore them. Right. All of a sudden,
I
you're sitting there snooping on every single human that's within a like 6-block radius of your house. And right, you start to know, every dog's DNA, so
would say
Yeah.
I'm somewhat snoopy.
Yeah.
I
I
find
did
stuff
put my
out.
intuition on hold when I'm obviously I will always grieve my husband,
Yeah.
but my intuition, I'm going to say my gut didn't serve me well soon afterwards.
Yeah.
which, right, grief is such a huge emotion and such a
Mm-hmm.
huge part of your life that it's hard to do anything else.
Yeah.
So
I call grief my quiet companion.
Yeah. That's another good way to put it.
I,
And my husband got pancreatic cancer and we knew he was gonna, and his mom had it.
oh, my mom passed away from pancreatic cancer.
How long from diagnosis to passing?
18 months.
Oh, he got 11. So,
Yeah.
so we knew, and
Yeah.
I was trying to hold it together, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I know that you've kind of been leaning into it. Speaking, I was going to be the president of the National Speakers Association of Oregon, and then my husband got diagnosed, and I had to stop.
Right.
And I took a break from my podcast for a bit. And then, I still was getting speaking engagements, but it was COVID still. So a lot were online.
Right.
And my husband heard me and he's like, "You're not giving that up, are you?" And because I had said, I go, I'm going to stop. I don't need to. I'm going to stop. And he's like, "Why? I hear such joy in your voice when you're spreading the gospel of pink collar crime." And in my podcast. And so I take a break once a year for a little bit, usually kind of in summer. And but it's the thing that keeps me going. If I didn't have anything, I don't know. So yeah, he just heard in my voice and he's like, "Please don't stop because of what's going to happen."
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's speaking, I come and go from it. I mean, Colleen's just freaking killing it on the stage right now.
but I always say, right?
Full stop. Like she's killing it. No, you're not allowed to talk for a minute. I get to talk. No, honestly, like Colleen is so killing it right now out there on the stage and just opportunities and women in leadership. She just heard back, and I'm just going to announce it. She's speaking at PodFest in January, which a conference that we're jointly going to go to. And I personally come and go from it. I'm like, is this my thing? Is this my not? It's like, I want to speak more. And then I'm like, but I record podcasts on a weekly basis. Like I'm speaking. And maybe this is my stage. Like, you know what I mean, Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
But like maybe this is the piece right now in this chapter. I still submit proposals and stuff like that, and I don't get overly hooked into a yes or a no. But you're fabulous, Kelly. You've got so much wisdom. You've got a beautiful like stage voice. People will be able to see you on YouTube, obviously, but for those that are listening, like, you have a wonderful presence. So I'm so happy to hear that when you were feeling ready to lean back into that piece, that you're still continuing down that pathway.
My
Okay, Colleen.
mom, when my mom, elderly, and I'm driving her back from somewhere one day, and I think I just had some gig, and she's like, "You get paid to speak?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom, I do." She's like, "Really? Like, people pay you?" And I'm like, "Yes, well, Mom." And she's like, "But you were the one in the corner with a book. You were so introverted." And I would have never thought that I would speak. But I love it. And two of the two gigs I had this summer, they're in my top 3 ever, because I've kind of at the point where, like, I don't care. And I joke, people love me or hate me. There is no money in the middle.
Yep. I love it. It's funny. Right before this, I hung up with my mother, right, who's in her 80s, and we are talking about a gig I had 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden she's like, "So did you actually get a check from them?" Like, I don't know if she just didn't believe when I said I was getting paid to do this. And I said, "Well, yes." And she's like, "Well, do you have it in hand?" It's almost like she thinks I'm getting scammed, right?
Aw.
Or something. And I was like, "No, I don't have it in hand yet, but it's on the way. Like, I can see in the system that it's going through, and it will come." And she's like, "I just can't believe, like, that you get to make money off this." Right? Like, again, it's this like shock to her that somebody would pay somebody.
Well, and think about the generation that they grew up.
Right.
Women didn't get paid to perform except actresses.
My mother was
Really.
literally in the steno pool, like, right, and the typing pool before I was born. Right? She was in a room with 25 other women, 30 other women who literally were sitting on typewriters. Right?
Yeah.
And that was it. So,
Love it. Okay.
all right, back to Kelly.
Well, back to Kelly, because Kelly, you just cracked open something
Ooh.
I would love for us to talk about. Colleen, do you identify as an extrovert?
Yes.
Extroverted characteristics?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah, I need my introvert moments too, but it's definitely, I talk to everybody anywhere.
When you go through, like, if you were to do like an online assessment or something, you would.
I'd definitely be on the extrovert side.
On the extrovert. Okay. So we've got introverted and extroverted. And so I would like to facilitate a conversation around this, because Kelly, you said something that so many people say to me, and Colleen too. "I can't do that because I'm introverted." And it's like, time out. Yes, absolutely you can. How you get there just might look different to somebody who identifies as more of having extroverted characteristics. So, Kelly, share with us, as an introverted speaker on stage, traveling all over the place, how do you prepare to be on stage?
I've had a lot of coaching. I have to have the topic that I truly, truly love. I don't want, like, some speakers have a bubble beforehand that they don't want to engage with anyone. That isn't my sort of thing. It used to be I would speak and then I'd come off like a high, and but that would last a really long time. Now I have a higher high, but then when I crash pretty hard, because I don't leave anything behind. And I did a gig this summer and I was wearing 2 mismatching shoes to see if the audience would notice, because it was a thing about inattentional blindness. And so, and I was never a theater person. I just I show up in a pink suit. Every year I buy a pink suit because I'm the pink collar crime lady and I make fun of it and everything like that. I just get this energy. I don't get nervous, but this is the interesting thing. I've taken improv for the past year and I had to take a break just because of work and travel. I can go in front of 1,000 people and not break a sweat. I go in front of 12 people, I am dying. Like, because I am not in control. Even if my slides go down, I still can do my presentation in front of 1,000. But in improv with 10 or 12 people, I am dying. It is exhausting.
What's the difference?
Control.
Like, what is?
It's control.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Well, my presentations, some of them I can do in my sleep. I mean, I joke, I can do it in my sleep. But in improv, it's just banging at you.
Yes,
and
right? Yes, and.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my improv instructor, he's done Second City, he's great. He said when I started out that I was negative, and not like mean negative. He's like, but then by the time the last couple times I've gone, he's like, whenever Kelly does say something, I can see she's been thinking to a certain point. I'm not a very fast thinker, but I'm very observant.
Classic introverted characteristic. Thoughtful.
And then when I say it,
right,
he's like,
depth.
Pay attention. She's saying something.
Yep.
Which is tricky in improv, right? Because improv is all about thinking on your feet. And so often when I'm coaching folks and they're struggling with job interviews, or they're struggling with speaking or presenting or running meetings, I actually recommend they take an improv class. I think it gets people to start learning how to kind of think a little bit faster, right? When they need to. So, and not to completely change your patterns, because you're going to do your best thinking when you have that time to reflect and analyze and go deep. But there are times where we have to think on our feet. And so I think improv classes are such a great way to get people comfortable with that, right? Every leader that I work with, our leadership training that I run, I infuse a bunch of different improv kind of techniques into it, particularly when we're in person. It's a little harder on Zoom, but in person we do a bunch of the different kind of traditional improv activities just to get people comfortable with that.
Yeah. Hey, Colleen, what are your tips in terms of preparation for speaking on stage through the lens of extroversion?
So I don't know that it's either extroversion or introversion. I teach a class every year or every quarter for a group of entrepreneurs on how to do their presentations, how to pitch, how to get ready for it. And a few things that I always tell them is figure out how to get your brain not to think about it in the half hour before you go on stage, right? Or the hour before you go on stage, not to sit there and constantly go through it in your head, because you're just going to get yourself all worked up. And so, right, it's kind of get your brain to think of something else. And for some people, that might be sitting in the audience and chatting with people. For some people, it might be doing a complicated crossword puzzle, or I used to love doing Sudoku puzzles before I did anything that was stressful, and just kind of getting folks to get out of their brain. As an extrovert, I think for me, I'm much better when I have walked the room before, right? So every time I'm doing a keynote, I am talking to people all morning, right? I'm not the keynote who shows up 15 minutes before and talks. I get there. And if I'm the 9 a.m. one, I get there the day before, if I can, to the conference, talk to as many people. And from stage, I'll call people out. I'll be like, and Kelly, when we were talking yesterday, and Christine, when we said that, right? Just to kind of bring it all in. But if that's uncomfortable for you, right, figure out what is comfortable for you, right? Some way to get your brain to not think, holy crap, I'm going on stage soon.
Okay, I love it. Great tips. Good tips. It's all about energy management.
100%.
Right? Colleen's managing her energy in the room, day before, where it sounds like, Kelly, you're managing your energy slightly different.
Yeah. I had to do a whole new presentation last summer, and it's based on a book that I've had. Did you guys ever do the psychological experiment, the gorilla experiment, where they're playing basketball and a gorilla walks by and 50% of people don't see it? Because they're telling you to count the passes between the people in the white shirts. So I did a whole new presentation for a group, and I have so much fun doing the research, doing, the references, and then I love to make slides. And and Colleen, you've probably been to this. Go to a presentation and someone's got words everywhere, and it's
Ugh.
like, no, pictures, people. And
Big
I
giant photos.
yeah, I did it initially because people were stealing my stuff. And I was just like, oh, come on. So
The words
yeah,
or
the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've cut the words down as minimally as I can, and I just do pictures. And you know what? People remember pictures and stories. They don't remember, 15% of embezzlement cases only go to law enforcement. They just
Not at all.
remember that so-and-so didn't go to law enforcement because, the woman had children.
Right.
They don't remember. They only remember the stories, and we are such visual people.
Yeah,
I agree.
I learned that in a course that I took on presentations, was like, just remove the words or have, I don't know, just like 2 to 3 bullets.
Yep.
I facilitated an entire career planning course in the spring without showing my PowerPoint. And they loved it. I kept, like, it's over Zoom, and they, there was maybe a couple of times that I broke them into breakouts, but the majority of the course, I had them in the one room. It was a small enough number that we could work together. And I said to them, like, I had it up just so I could make sure that I was hitting all my points and making sure I was covering all the material. But they said, we really loved that you didn't use that we weren't staring at a PowerPoint presentation. And I actually said to them, I said, just so you know, you're not missing out on anything. It's just full of photos. I said, honestly, I'm not even going to upload it into the platform for you because it's useless.
Yeah.
It's absolutely useless. So
I tend to do a handout with all the words that they need.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll do a handout and then the photos. So because again, right, people sometimes they want those statistics to take home with them, right? They want that information. The other one I will say that I love doing is I make it a postcard. And so everyone gets a postcard as they come in, they address it to themselves, they write on the postcard the thing that they learned from, like, the thing that they want to remember the most, and they hand it to me on their way out, and then I mail it to them a month later.
Oh my God, I love that idea, because I have, and I don't have it in front of me right now, I have a postcard with like the top 5 pink collar criminals that I need to update, but I could make it as a postcard. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that idea.
I love it.
Like,
and so I'll say we have an Embrace the Squiggle one.
Yeah.
So there's that. So if you're listening and you want an Embrace the Squiggle one, shoot us a message with your address. But whenever I do a talk, I'm like, write the thing in the back that resonates with you the most, put your address, and then I'll send it in the mail to you in a month so you remember it again.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay,
I love it. It was a complete accidental. I got these printed, the Embrace the Squiggle ones, and I accidentally clicked postcard and not whatever it was called otherwise, like
sticker.
Or,
sticker.
No, not sticker.
S for sticker.
Not sticker. But like I wanted like cards to people to be able to take to remember, and they got the thing on the back, and some lady was like, "Oh, do I put my address on here and give it to you?" And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I planned. So now it's been incorporated into everything I do. And not everybody does it, right? Some people are like, I'm not writing my address. I assure them I don't copy it. But, it's a fun little kind of piece that gets people to remember. I
might have to do that. I need to do so many things.
All right. Well, we are hitting 40 minutes here. So
I love this conversation. I just want to keep talking to Lily's mom forever.
Okay, we can't. I'm sorry, Christine. Christine says this about like 90% of our podcast guests. If she doesn't say it, I'm always like, oh, she really hated this person. So.
Who needs a stage? Who needs speaking engagements when I can just like show up for my own podcast?
I feel so honored. I'm at episode 200 on my podcast.
Wow.
5 years. And it's an honor to get these people. I've only had like 2 people turn me down. One just ghosted me, a lawyer, of course. And then the other one, I don't know, she just thinks she's too big for her britches. But otherwise, people are just generous with their time, their knowledge.
Love it.
And some people are like, I've never been on a podcast. And they're like, wow.
That's a lot of our guests. A lot of our guests are
Most of
like, they
ours,
have
yeah.
a small nervous breakdown. And we're like, no, imagine us at a coffee shop or a wine bar. That's what we're doing. We're wine barring it today. No, it's so true. And you know what? I'm going to come visit you when I race in Portland next year.
Well, I'm in Bend. Even better.
It's even better. I've never been to Bend. Oh, can I come and visit?
Yeah, I got Lily knows the flop house, and it's a nice flop house.
Can I come flop?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. We have several big biking, because I know you're a biker, because maybe I creeped on you.
Creep me. I know. I spend a lot of time on the bike.
Yeah. So we have like is it a Centurion? Oh my God. It's so much fun. Yeah.
No, Bend is amazing for gravel riding.
Yeah.
And I have a gravel bike.
Okay.
And then there's an amazing race in Portland. I didn't go this year, health reasons. I had to sort of back off of racing this year. But I think I'm motivated now to race another year. So, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Lily's mom.
Come to the flop house.
I don't have a mom. I might have to adopt you.
Okay.
Okay. Are you taking us home? Am I taking us home? What are we doing here?
Sure,
there,
I'll take us home.
Co-host.
I will take us home.
Okay, cool.
All right. So here we go, Kelly. What is your go-to pump-up song? What do you like to listen to when you need to get yourself out there and doing the stuff?
Oh God, I'm so bad with music. Who's
Or
this
type
song?
of music?
You know what? There's the crazy song. Oh God, I'm looking on my phone right now under music. I mean, Lily and I have actually been to Taylor Swift 3 times together.
Nice.
Like crazy. Isn't that crazy that we have been? You know what? I love James Taylor, but I'm looking. I love Noah Kahan. Lily got me into Noah Kahan.
I know that person.
Oh God, who is the guy? It's like Go Crazy. I am not good with music.
That is okay. I mean, I'll take Taylor Swift and Noah Kahan. I think you're good.
Okay.
So. Okay. What do you find scarier, networking or negotiating?
Oh, negotiating by far. Yeah, not even a question.
Nice.
Is there negotiating and embezzlement fraud? Do you have to negotiate?
Well, you know,
I'm just curious.
The interesting thing is the women will confess, but whatever they number confess to, you multiply it by 2 to 6. So Rita Crunwell, who stole $53 million from the town of Dixon, Illinois, she went in, 2 FBI agents, sang like a canary for 90 minutes. So she confessed. And they asked her, how much did you steal? And she's like, 10 million. It was 53.7. So whatever number they confess to, it's like, Lily knows this. When my husband was around, I'd go to the Nordstrom's anniversary sale. I'd come home with a pair of fine Italian leather boots, which Lily has stolen many of because we wear the same size shoe.
Love it.
Very convenient.
Yeah, he went to his grave thinking that fine Italian leather boots were like $100, $150 because I rounded down.
Right.
Oh, so my mom did that too.
Embezzles rounds down.
Oh, okay. So okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's not really an act of negotiating. It's just an act of like mathing the math.
It's more you negotiate in your own brain.
Yeah.
You're negotiating with yourself.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. What color brings you the most joy?
You know what? Most people are going to think it's pink because of pink collar crime. And I get to buy a nice pink suit every year. But you know what? I love red.
Nice. I have red nails at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Red glasses.
Yeah, I love red. But you know what? I thought one of my questions was a book. And so I brought a book.
We're getting there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay, I'm ahead.
I love it, Colleen. Our guests, Thank
We
you.
always end with the book one. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
So, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I love
Kelly,
it.
do you have a book recommendation for our listeners?
Oh my God, I do. And it's
Control.
So in the New York Times recently, did you read about Hannah Pittard, who was highlighted for her book, If You Love It, Let It Kill You?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Well, go back and read it. Lily put it in the show notes. And she happened to come out from Kentucky, crazy small world story, to Oregon State University Cascades, which is in Bend, and she did a reading last week. Oh my God. Here is the book.
Did you go?
Oh yeah. I love
okay.
her. Talk about stalking. Oh, I the amount of stalking I'm doing on her, it's freakish. And she's doing an online course. So her style of writing for this book is called autofiction, which is short for autobiographical fiction. And I have devoured this book. I'm laughing out loud. It's just, this is If You Love It, Let It Kill You by Hannah Pittard. And I usually don't dig into authors. Oh, I'm digging. Like, creepy. I know her house. I know that. Yeah, just,
Nice.
But it's laugh out loud funny. And when you see, and a friend of mine went with me, and so I texted her this morning and I said, are you starting to read it? I'm devouring it. And she's like, yes. And I said, she goes, and I can picture her reading it to me because we saw her doing a reading. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, now I have another book to add to my to be read pile, which gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
Thank you, Kelly, so much for being our guest today. This has been so much fun. If our listeners want to follow you and, maybe snoop on you or connect with you, where can they do that?
I'm on LinkedIn, Kelly Paxton. I have kellypaxton.com. I'm having an issue with my pinkcollarcrime.com website, and my little tech person, Lily, is in London. So I'll get it back up eventually. But LinkedIn is kind of the best way, or through my website.
Yep. Or they can go listen to your podcast.
Yeah, fraudish.
Yep.
And I do have a book, which is called Embezzlement: How to Detect, Prevent, and Investigate Pink Collar Crime. But Lily calls it a pamphlet. It's over 100 pages. It is not a pamphlet.
It's not a pamphlet.
It's a handbook.
Yeah, it is.
I love that. And I can attest that you are active on LinkedIn. So connect with her there. She will respond.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
it's my honor and pleasure and delight. And I'm so excited. Thank you.
We're so excited to have you.
This was so fun.
So fun. Our episode today was brought to you by Maxity, where we are reshaping how individuals and businesses thrive using their strengths to achieve their highest goals through training and executive coaching. And so if this episode sparks something for you today, an idea, a question, maybe a nudge to try something new, we'd love to hear about it. Drop us a message on Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok, because that's what Embrace the Squiggle is all about. Showing up for the messy, non-linear parts of our careers and figuring it all out together. Thanks, everyone. Is it time for you to add a little squiggle to your career? Join us every week to hear from another guest talk about how they embrace the squiggle.
Subscribe now and find your inspiration.